Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Wednesday, May the 7th. Ian Cameron, we've got Perlo with us, as he is on Mondays and Wednesdays. And joining us for the first time on the show, former pro hockey player, NHL for a bit as well, played for many, many years, Alex Bolduc. Happy to have Alex joining us here, making his Ice Guys show debut. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no doubt. Career obviously went from NHL, AHL, over to Europe. You know, we're going to get into more detail about Alex and his playing days later. We're going to do a Player Suite interview series episode. We'll record that over the summer with Alex, so we'll get more in depth with all of that. But just a Cliff Notes version, Alex, if you will, of the playing days and how you got into hockey and the many, many years you played.
Yeah, Cliff Notes version, Montreal, born and raised. So really no other option. That's pretty much the only thing I've done my entire life from, I think we started at 3 or 4 years old. All my best friends to this day still all play pro hockey. I think 4 of them played, and it was our crew growing up. And I feel like that really helped us. Never had to really pick between friends that were hockey friends and then party friends or whatever. Our group of boys just kind of grew up and lucky enough to all play at different levels. And some in Europe, some played in the NHL. And then, so grew up doing that. And we all played major junior together. And then, that's the only thing we kind of did. We were very lucky and fortunate that our group of friends kind of did it as long as we did and still involved in it,
No doubt. Good stuff indeed. No, he's not related to Zachary Bolduc.
No.
You've been asked about that.
I get that a lot actually now. Yeah, it's nice. And they're pronouncing the name right too. It's not like Bolduc or any of the Bolduc is. I never watched myself play, and so it's nice that they're saying it right at least.
Bolduc. I actually can't believe someone would be that fucking stupid and actually call it.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. That bugged me too. Yeah.
Oh, well, like I say, but you know what's funny is that hosting this show now for 7-8 years, I'm fixated with getting the names right. And pronouncing them, even the toughest names, and make sure I get them right here on the show. I do the best I can.
Don Cherry, then.
No Don Cherry moment. No Oliver Lawsome Tossums here. Oliver Lawsome Tossum, he would call
he was really good with the Russians. Yeah.
How about remember Galchenyuk? That's another one of my favorites from him. Alex Galchukluk. Yeah.
He's had some good ones, yeah.
Yes, he has. We try not to be the Don Cherry of butchering player names here with yours truly on the Ice Guys show. All right, let's recap last night. We had 2 games. We start with Carolina, Washington. I'll be honest, it was a bit of a snore fest this game. Wasn't the most exciting game. It was disappointing from an entertainment standpoint. But look, Carolina, it was the old suffocation by the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, look, they just suppressed any offense from Washington. Washington didn't have much time in the offensive zone for the entire game. There was a little bit in the first 10 minutes of the second period, where Washington was starting to carry the play, and that's when Alexei Protas got his goal to give them a 1-0 lead. But other than that, I mean, it was all Carolina. I mean, they were in the offensive zone the whole time. Now, what frustrates me about the Hurricanes, and it'll be interesting to get Alex's take on this as someone that's played, I find with Carolina, it's great to have the dominant offensive zone time stats and the dominant possession numbers, but I find they don't do enough with it. Like, that's almost beyond insane that it took them it was that much of a struggle for them to escape with the win in that game 1 for a team that was out shooting Washington heavily. And, Washington could barely get out of their zone last night, most of that game. And yet here's Carolina still needing overtime to win that game and only scoring 2 goals. And it was just a simple play in overtime. It was Jacob Slavin, one of the best defensemen in the NHL, defensively for sure. Just a nice, tricky little wrist shot from the point, get it through the traffic. Clearly, Logan Thompson couldn't see it, and Carolina gets the 2-1 win. And look, I had questions about Frederik Andersen coming into this series, saying he's inconsistent. He's had some rough playoff years, bad goals at bad moments. But the best way to protect Freddie Anderson is make sure he doesn't see the puck much or feel the puck much and doesn't face many shots. And Carolina did a masterful job of that. I didn't like the Protas goal. It was a good shot. He's a 30-goal guy. He's got great talent, but I'd still one-on-one, no screen. I would like to see Freddie make that save. He didn't for the Washington goal, but that was Carolina. Full marks for them. We'll start with you, Alex, on this one. Carolina, full marks for that win. They were the better team, and they go up 1-0 in the series with the overtime win.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to my girlfriend about it too last night while we're watching Carolina. I just can't get into their games. I don't like. They're just. I watch them. I'm not very excited. Washington off balanced it. I wanted to watch. Wilson's exciting. Just Carolina. They're to me. They're still like. I don't know. I can never look at them when Lightning play or Florida. Or Toronto. You see these names that you want to watch. Carolina. I respect what they've done and how they're coached, but like you said, it's always a snore fest. I never watch their games.
I'll give you a comparison, guys. Carolina in the offensive zone, all the possession, the shots, but no goals, no production to show for all those efforts. It reminds me of, and I've seen this before, weddings and nightclubs and in my younger years. I don't go to many nightclubs these days. I'm almost 40. But back in time, I used to. It reminds me of the people that were on the dance floor all night, just hogging the space on the dance floor all night, and they spent most of the whole night on the dance floor, and they didn't do enough dancing. They're just standing there talking and flapping their gums, and they're not dancing enough. That to me is what I think of with Carolina in the offensive zone. They're there, they're on the dance floor, they're where they need to be, but they're not doing enough. They're not doing enough dancing in the offensive zone. That's the comparison for me.
Yeah, I think I'll use the gym one. I have a couple buddies that come in to my gym there and then stand around for 2 hours, but don't lift a weight. And I feel like they go there and don't really serve a purpose. But to string off your comparison, Carolina's a lot of show, but not a lot of actual results, or not even that much show. To be fair, just good, solid hockey. You got to respect it, but I don't know. To me, they're not a powerhouse. I don't get it.
Well, Washington didn't help make that game entertaining either. They couldn't muster anything pretty much for that game. They did hit the post 5 times, Robert. I'll give them that. But production. It's not about posts and crossbars. I get it, but let's get production from Carolina with that. So that's what it kind of I think of with that. Perlo, what were your thoughts on that? Hurricanes Capitals game 1 as Carolina wins.
Yeah, Carolina is definitely frustrated. They're a team that kills you with 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah,
that's they stay on you all the time. They shoot for the purpose of winning in the corners. They are extremely well. They're probably the best athlete team in the league. Like, they are well conditioned. You don't have a Brenda Moore team if you don't have great conditioning. And that's something I didn't really take into account in this series, because I don't really think of Washington as that. Ovechkin doesn't ooze great conditioning, to tell you the honest truth, right? And from what I've heard, that isn't the case.
He had one shift though where he was hitting everything in sight.
Exactly. He's a freak of nature.
He gets mad,
nature, no doubt about that. But that's the way Brenda Moore is. He said he wants his team to play man on man, all 3 zones, all over you all the time, shoot, get rebounds. Something's going to go in eventually. And it's boring because you're not going to see too many in and out dekes and going around 2 guys, or the big shot from the off wing even. At least when you watch Washington, you're waiting for Ovi to do that one-timer off the off wing or something like that. They don't do that at all. I think they want Svetch to do that, and he kind of does it every once in a while, but there's not really that play in their playbook. Everything is just, let's take these guys down slowly, frustrate until finally one goes in. And it's not like I took Washington in this series, but I was iffy about it, because if Carolina does play like that and you don't find a way to combat it, they're going to win 2-1, 3-1, whatever. And then every once in a while, they're going to have a 5-2 because everything does go in because your goaltender's not at his best, or whatever the case may be. And that's just the way they play. So what Washington has to do in this is Carberry's got to come up with a plan to somehow beat them to the corners after those rebounds. That's really what came right down to. Last night, every time there was not a rebound, but Thompson would save it and go to the corner, and Carolina was there first.
Yeah, it was easy clean exit after easy clean exit from the D zone. Pretty much all night.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. You can't dump and chase with Carolina. I was saying the last time we were on the show, you got to smash and chase. You got to get it around the boards, up to the half boards, beat the defenseman there, and either hit them or maybe you win the battle. The other thing Carolina does is they are excellent at knowing where you're going to be before you're going to be there. And that's a Brind'Amour thing. So when you try to put it up into the neutral zone to your guy, they're on you like stink on poop. So it's going to be take Carberry everything he's got. I love Carberry, but it's going to take everything he's got to be able to combat that system in some way to get enough shots. Because if they can get 22 shots, I think they probably can pot 2 or 3 on Anderson. It's just a question of whether they're going to be able to do that. 13 ain't going to do it, that's for sure. What did they get? 13, 14 shots the whole game or something?
Yeah, low.
Yeah, they just. You're right, 100%. You got to generate a little bit more than that. And again, we will see if they're able to do that. I think. Look, that was a troubling first game for Washington, but I'm not ready to say they're down in the series. Yeah. That's a series for a reason. You got to win 4. And Carberry is a great master of adjustments and game by game, and I already think of him as one of the better coaches in the league. I have no doubt Washington will be better in game 2, better enough to win. That's going to be the question moving forward, no doubt. The other game, Edmonton-Vegas last night, and boy, oh boy, this Edmonton Oilers team, after losing the first 2 games in the series against Los Angeles, they've now won 4 straight in that series, their 5th straight playoff win overall last night. Coming back from an early, and I mean early, 2-0 deficit. Like Vegas just pounced on them. They got the early 4-minute power play, and they scored on it with the Carlson deflection. Mark Stone adds to the lead 2-0, and Edmonton, another slow start. Here we go again. Another fucking slow start on the road to a series for the Edmonton Oilers. But boy, they got that 2-1 goal. Corey Perry, as we like to call him. Corey Perry makes it 2-1. Nice move to deke out Aiden Hill and finish it. And then in the second and the third period, the way the Oilers' defense played, no Ekholm still, keep that in mind, unbelievable. 12-1 were the shots in the second period for Edmonton. Are you kidding me? In Vegas, to hold that team to 1 shot on goal with no Ekholm. And then in the third period, Vegas came on a little bit, but I still thought Edmonton controlled the game flow in the third period. And, of course, they end up tying it with Draisaitl banking it in off Hill. And then, of course, the 2 late goals. What a ripper from Hyman to make it 3-2. The late goal in the third to give them the lead. And then Connor Brown, Mr. Stanley Cup playoffs, the guy that just elevates. 2 years in a row he's elevating for the Oilers in the playoffs with just a wonderful goal.
What a move. What a move
in the neutral zone at center.
I thought he had him wide. I thought he was going to take him wide and then made him shift his feet. You see, and that was a good one of their good D too.
Theodore.
Yeah, it was Theodore. Yeah, that guy's good, man. Like he made Theodore look like a 20-year-old rookie there.
He did. It was unbelievable by Connor Brown, especially against.
And what a nice finish! The goalie looked. I don't know that the goalie looked like shell shocked or something. I don't know. Went half a poke check or something, and then
Yeah, I didn't love that Brown goal.
Weird. It looked really easy.
Yeah, didn't love it, but at the end of the day, Edmonton's full marks for that win. After the first period, they were dominant in that game. And to think that the defense barely gave up anything of quality to the Vegas Golden Knights in their building for the last 40 minutes. And I said on our chat that I'm going to give them I'm going to give the flowers on the show here today to everyone on that blue line right now. I can't even believe I'm saying this. John Klingberg's actually playing pretty decent right now.
He looks nice, yeah. He looks smooth.
He is. He's not making any. I haven't seen any gaffes defensively. I've seen him actually jumping up in the play, keeping pucks alive in the offensive zone, which is his strength. Carrying the puck, mobility, and moving the puck has always been a strength of his. Kulak's one of the more underrated guys going right now for the Edmonton Oilers. He's been great. Emberson's been solid. Nurse has played better. Bouchard hasn't been having the screw ups like he did early in the series against LA. how they are maximizing every ounce of the ability of this undermanned defense is incredible. And I say Paul Coffey is the reason for it. Paul Coffey, man, a Hall of Famer, unbelievable defenseman in his life, obviously in his playing days. And I'm sure he's been instrumental in what we're getting from this Oilers blue line without Matthias Ekholm. So the coaching staff, Knobloch deserves a lot of credit. Paul Coffey, I think, has done an incredible job, keeping this blue line together and making them better. Remember how awful they were in LA the first 2 games of that first round? And look at how much
Rob Blake step down. They made Rob Blake step down. They ended Rob Blake's tenure,
Yeah, I know. They sent Rob Blake back. Yeah, they did. They sent Rob Blake packing.
No choice.
No doubt. It was. I agree with that, and that's something we'll talk about in a minute too. The Rob Blake being dismissed as GM. It's rightfully, and yet it sounds like Hiller's coming back, which makes absolutely zero sense to me. I cannot believe that with how he butchered that series for the LA Kings. That's another story. The best bet hits for me, Edmonton. I had confidence. I said they're going to want to get this one and set a tone that, hey, you knocked us out 2 years ago, Vegas. It's going to be a different series this time around, or at least it's going to be a tougher series. And what a win that was last night for the Edmonton Oilers to go up 1-0 in this series. So happy to get that best bet home with the Oilers as a road underdog in the plus 120 range. Perlo, your thoughts on the big Oilers Game 1 win?
Well, first of all, I had the Oilers too, but I have to tell you, it's a complete tale of you, Ian, when I heard you yesterday. I was kind of on the fence about the game, and I listened to the show, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's probably right there. So I took the Oilers as well. The only thing I will say about the Oilers there is, although Pickard got it done, he didn't look good getting it done. He looked pretty shaky.
And he barely faced any shots the last 2 periods, so it's hard to evaluate Calvin Pickard last night.
Yeah. If the Oilers can keep on doing that to Vegas, then fine. Vegas certainly wasn't able to play their game. I'm going to say wasn't able to play their game. I think Oilers took their game away from them, to tell you the honest truth. And they mentioned in the chat here as well a couple times that Peter Angelo missing leans pretty large there.
That was a surprise. Nobody saw that coming before the game, that he wasn't going to play, and suddenly he's a late scratch, and that was a big deal. And Dorofeyev didn't play either for Vegas. He missed another game.
So and Dorofeyev not there makes it tough. But give the Oilers credit. They got that one. They look good. They look pretty good doing it. I'm sure Vegas now is going to be reeling into the second. You're going to see a better effort, I think, from Vegas in that next game. And Hill looked pretty good, but it's starting to wonder if maybe it's not as much of a goaltending advantage as we think as well. So I am taking I'm taking it game by game here with that series. But right now, I'm looking for a reason to put a little more on the Oilers, to tell you the honest truth. It's not just because of that first game. It's like you said, and I mentioned this as well, and I got to give Avi, my good friend Avi, he's the one that really pointed this out to me, and I had to take a good look at it. That defense has been doing a lot better for a while. It wasn't just yesterday. Analytically speaking, that defense, Kulak, you mentioned Kulak, who was one of my premium picks yesterday for blocks. That guy has been playing 25 minutes, and he's been putting up excellent analytic numbers, everything. He has been a beast for them. And Klingberg, I never saw that coming all day, man.
No.
Not in a million years did I think Klingberg was going to be playing as well as he has. He's not doing super long passes. He's keeping everything tight and short. He's not. He's using his skating when he needs to. He's really compacted his game. He's playing better than I have seen him play ever, for sure.
Making good puck decisions, no hope plays. Yep.
Yeah, he looks like he's just basically matured. There's some defensemen that think that they are something and that's it, and you're never going to get him to be anything else. And I think he might have been one of them, and Coffey seems to have gotten through with him. So I agree with you. Coffey has come. I think it's probably Coffey that's come along, brought those guys a long way. Emberson is one of those guys that if you don't hear his name, he's probably doing pretty well, and you don't hear his name. Emberson's been playing very well there. I'm leaning the Oilers now. in that series, and might even be thinking about taking him in for the next game. We'll see. But Peter Angelo is going to be back. Vegas is going to be a little more. Vegas just doesn't look right. Simple as that.
They didn't look right in the Minnesota series
Minnesota.
to me, even though they won that series. I think there's some truth to that. They didn't overly impress me. They didn't dominate that series. They won a couple games in overtime. They could have lost game 1 at home in that Minnesota series. They lost game 2 at home. They actually could have lost, and maybe should have lost game 5 at home. Hartman looked like he had the game winner, and offside was the right call. But you know, somehow that's an onside play, and that Hartman goal counts. Vegas is down 3-2 in that series, going back to Minnesota for game 6. Remember that.
And there's something with the energy too. It doesn't, like, you got Stone, looks like he's trying to get these guys going, but it certainly isn't Eichel. But Eichel has never been that kind of guy. He's been like just play for himself. He's never been a guy that really rallies the team, you know. And it just seems like they don't have it in them to take that next step when they need it, when they really need the energy. It just doesn't seem to come. They just are relying kind of on a system and Eichel to pot a couple and hope that they get a few, but I don't know. I just don't see the desire. They look like the old Toronto, like the Toronto Maple Leafs before the game that we just saw against Florida, or in a couple series now. That's what it feels like to me. Like they just don't have that grr to get her done.
Not like 2 years ago when they made that cup run. Alex, your thoughts last night on what we saw there with the Oilers? Very impressive to me.
Yeah, I wish I had a little more balls. But when they were down 2-0, I went to look at the odds, and I was like, "This is a time right now where." But I'm like, "Fuck, Vegas want to shut it down." I really feel like, man, you can never count the Oilers out. Just
I find getting the real early lead, the real early, like 2-goal lead, is sometimes very, very dangerous.
It's crazy.
Look at St. Louis against Winnipeg in Game 7.
Yeah, exactly. But that one, I did have the balls. I went on Winnipeg, and I just felt like they were going to come back. You just can't count these guys out, especially two. And you got to see how they score those first 2 goals too. Like a broken play, like there's no domination there really. They just scored 2 quick ones, broken plays. You know, sometimes that happens. And like that doesn't set the tone for the game. Like it could be washed out. Those 2 goals getting washed out real quick, you know, and they did eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just very impressive from that.
Yeah, they were good. Edmonton's different now. They're not much scares them, you know. Like,
yeah, no doubt. I know you are a center, right, Alex? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no doubt. You know, and obviously centers have some pretty. There's so many roles they take on. They have to facilitate. Some of them are capable of scoring. They got to win key faceoffs. You got to be defensively responsible. Could you imagine trying to go up against some of these players like McDavid and Draisaitl for Edmonton?
Yeah, and I think Eichel.
How would you handle it? How would you handle it? Yeah,
fuck, I would change. That's what I would do. I would go dump it and go change if I was on the ice against McDavid.
Get someone else out here. Yeah.
They would tell me to change. I feel like, but honestly, what got me to the NHL and especially in the American League when I was like 21, 22, I was playing against the high-end guys. Like, I don't know if you guys remember like Jason Krog or like Darren Haydar, like the big names in the American League.
Scorer in the AHL, Darren
Haydar. Yeah. But in Winnipeg, when I was playing for the Moose, Arneal was there. Vigneault was my first one. And then Arneal and I got along really well. I'm so happy he's killing it now. I love it. That was probably one of my favorite coaches I've ever had, or at least top 3. And he would put me out against Krog all the time, to a point where I remember, because I played with Chicago later on, John Anderson, and John Anderson would never put Krog and Haydar out against me. And I remember it was like a stalemate one game, and Anderson wasn't playing his guys anymore. It was a win for Manitoba. But I remember skating by his bench and go, fucking play Krog already, man. I can't, because he would change. I would have to change every time. And there was like a coaching, like mind game they were playing. But I kept changing. I'm like, and
the matchup game. Anderson, the matchup game.
Yeah. He would take Krog off every time. So we would get on, he would change, and we would have to change. And I wasn't playing at all, which was okay. But I remember yelling at him, man, play them. Like, and he wouldn't play them. I remember that game like very vividly. It was fun. A little frustrating, but fun.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure it's always.
So back to your original point. Yeah, I love that matchup of the defensive, like, but McDavid's another level. I like doing it in the American League, but against McDavid, you have to be like, Eichel's doing a good job, though. I think really. like he's the only guy that can skate with McDavid, I think, or even close to, It's
Yeah,
hard.
it was just a tough game for Vegas, where it's, you do not often see certainly Vegas just that the flow of play go against them like that, like 12-1 in one period of play. They gave up a lot of looks and they barely got any themselves. And that's a rare thing, especially on home ice for Vegas. And that told me, those last two periods told me Edmonton feels confident and they're very capable of winning this series. Now Vegas will have a response. Obviously, it's a long way to go, but I think Edmonton showed that, whatever we thought of Edmonton and their D without Ekholm, that they could not handle it and could not find ways to beat teams without Matthias Ekholm on that blue line. They have basically put that to bed now. With what they've done in the last two games, I should say, of the LA series, and then what they did last night in game 1 against Vegas.
Secondary scoring. Secondary scoring is like it, you got Brown and then Hyman's not really secondary scoring, but Brown scoring, you get like
Matthias Janmark scored the other night.
Guys
like that chipping in. Henrique can chip in. Yeah, you're getting the other guys stepping up.
Man, that's a dangerous team now when it's not all relying on your first line or your power play. That's like that Brown's a game. Like that was a big goal. That put the game out of reach right there.
Nugent Hopkins has played well the last few
games. That too, man. You get him scoring, that's solid.
That's 5 straight games with a point now for Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
So that point prop.
Is he on their first unit? Is he on their first unit?
Second line.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's good then. 5.5. Yeah, that's good.
5-game point. So hit that points prop right now with Nugent Hopkins. He's definitely that's now 5 in a row with a point for him after last night. Had another, I think, a 2-point effort actually in the win for the Edmonton Oilers. A great win for Edmonton. Good to hit the best bet. Let's turn our attention now to tonight. We've got 2 games on tap, and we will begin with the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, where, it's almost an afterthought with the incident involving Stolarz and Bennett that Toronto played a hell of a game 1 and has a 1-0 series lead. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everyone instead wants to talk about the Bennett and Stolarz controversy from the other night. But it's Panthers and Leafs tonight. Florida minus 140, road favorites here in game 2. The total here sitting at 5.5, shaded to the over. Of course, Toronto getting the 5-4 win in game 1. I thought it was a great start to that game for Toronto as far as they came out, they dictated the play. They showed Florida right away, hey, you guys beat us 2 years ago in 5 games. We're coming out showing you it's going to be different and it's going to be tougher for you this time around. It was the perfect start, jumped on the Panthers right away. And look, Florida mounted a comeback after Stolarz left the game and Joe Woll had to come in. Greg Berube, a masterclass using the timeout when it got to 4-3.
Nice. Very
Good
nice.
use of the timeout, 100%. And Alex has seen that, I'm sure. Your team is starting to the momentum is slipping away from you. You give up a couple of goals when you have a 3-goal lead. Coach uses a timeout, and it often just calms the bench down and gets everyone dialed in.
The crowd to calm down a bit too if it's on the road. And but what's hard, like now we talked about it before. Now that I'm coaching, it's like you don't have many big decisions during the game where that can really affect the outcome. But like calling a timeout at the wrong time or like wasting it and maybe needing it down the line and regretting it, it's and then it's funny to me. Like I would never think twice. Like hey, just call it. But like if it's a closer game, you might need it down the line, and so you got to really weigh your decision there.
And you only get one of them, obviously, when it comes to timeout. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It's all about timing and saving it for when you absolutely need or want to use it, not just throwing it away with something flimsy, as far as that's concerned. So, like I said, it's a great point. You got to be very. Put a lot of thought into when you're exactly going to use that timeout, no question. But this game, obviously, look, I've said all I need to say about the Bennett Stolarz situation. Stolarz is out at least. I don't think, and from what I'm hearing, Stolarz may not be back until game 5 minimum, and there's a very good chance we still may not see him at all in this series.
Is that
because
bad,
it was a serious, I think, issue he had because he was puking. Basically, they had to get the puke bucket out for him, and there he is throwing up, over the bench there. So this idea that he's going to be back, game 3, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I think it's going to be some time. I think so. It's Joe Woll's net now, but you have confidence in Joe Woll. You obviously have a guy that's started a bunch of games. Let's not forget, this is not his first playoff start. He started 2 games last year against the Boston Bruins in the first round, Game 5 and Game 6 when Samsonov was injured. And he played great. They won both games 2-1 over the Bruins, and Joe Woll was excellent in both of those games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then Samsonov was ready to go in Game 7, and they put Samsonov in for game. Although they didn't lose Game 7 because of Samsonov. He only gave up 2 goals, and I don't think he gave up really a bad one. But like I said, Joe Woll in his 2 starts was very good against Boston. That being said, I said if Florida got to plus money in the series after a Game 1 loss, then I would become interested in taking them, and I did. I got plus 110 on Florida adjusted series. It's actually gone to basically even money. So I think there's been some Florida series bets based on the situation involving Stolarz. So I did take that.
Well, you took Florida after Game 1?
To win the series.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take
it at all. I think that's it's still 50-50. If you get plus money, I think it's a good bet, really. And
the idea, Alex, for me was I just didn't want to take Florida minus 170 before the series. I thought that price was just not enough respect for the Leafs. I thought they deserved a little more.
Totally. I'm surprised. I was going to ask you before, what's the percentage that changes when it's a home game? Like say the teams are 50-50, and then Toronto's at home. You get them so it's like a field goal in football, right? A home, you get 3 points.
100%. It's around a field goal. You give them 3 points for home field advantage.
And you get 0.2. I don't how's it?
Usually you'll give them 30 cents for home.
Okay,
in the NHL, depending on some home ice is strong. I don't find that they factor in the home ice nearly as much at times in the hockey. But it's in that range usually. If I even go 30 with some spots, 20's fine. 20 to 30, makes some sense as far as adjusting for home ice.
Yeah, okay.
But they've adjusted toward Florida big time here though, because Florida's off a loss. Because Florida was minus 125, minus 130 in Game 1 in Toronto. Now they're minus 140, minus 150. So there's always a price you got to pay, a premium for a team off a loss, a quality team like Florida. Given the situation, obviously with Stolarz missing now, and that's why you're paying a premium here with Florida. I only took Florida adjusted series price, and I'm on Florida here to score a goal in the first period, obviously, because it's the angle and play, which is a team that lost the previous game, scoring a goal in the first period. 25-12 ballpark figure with that in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, it's been strong. I know Jonathan knows the exact record, but first period goal for a team that lost the previous game has been strong. So I'm on the Panthers to score in the first period tonight. And I'm on Panthers team total over 3.5 at a plus price. Really good plus price on that with that. Because Florida, if you look at it, the one game they lost in the playoffs so far against Tampa, they bounced back next game and they won and they scored 4 goals. So I think they can get to 4. And I would say now with Florida up there in the minus 145, minus 150 range, if you're going to take Florida, I would take the team total because more likely they get to 4 goals. And this is not me fading Joe Woll. I think he could go out there and play great. But I know one thing is for sure. Florida didn't even play close to their A game. Neither did goalie Bob. And yet there they were only losing 5-4 by 1 goal. And it was not even close to their best game. And you would figure that they're going to have a collective step-up effort here tonight. So that's my concern with Toronto. You played a hell of a game, and yet there you were 5-4 hanging on at the end for that victory. So I'll take Florida team total over 3.5. Good plus money value on that. And like I said, I also took the adjusted series price with the Panthers prior to tonight at plus 110. I'm not back on the over 5.5 tonight. I think this could be 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah, it's close.
I think Bob does bounce back, though, and play better here tonight in this game. So that's kind of the way I see it. Florida, I think a good chance to tie up the series here tonight. I think the best value, though, if you're going to bet Florida, is that team total over 3.5.
Yeah.
Perla, what do you think here? Panthers, Leafs.
Pretty much on the same thing. But you didn't mention, and I thought you would, Panthers goal first period.
First period goal. I've got it. Yep. I'm on that.
You do have it. Okay, did you mention it? Sorry, I was playing around trying to figure out how to get my background back up again. But it's minus 170 that I see right now. So unless you found a better price. But right now I see minus 170. So I took another angle on this. The Leafs have scored in the second period every game so far, except for the one they got shut out. So against Ottawa. So I'm going to parlay the two. I'm going to take Panthers for goal first period, and I'm going to take Leafs goal second period at plus 120.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I also like Panthers in the first period, so I'm going to take them puck line first period. And Panthers ML team, and I'm going to do a little bit of a parlay here. I also like the team total over. I'm going to take the team total over 3.5. That's good value at plus 130. But I'm going to take the Panthers money line, and I'm going to parlay that with the team total over 2.5. And that'll bring me up to plus 100. I'm not really a fan of that Panthers money line price at minus 140. I might even sprinkle a little bit on the draw here. It just feels like a game that the Panthers are going to win any way they can. I'm not sure they're going to blow out Toronto. I don't really see that, but I see it being, like you said, 4-2, 3-2, something like that. I could see the draw. I could see a draw on the Panthers winning in overtime. And if they don't win in overtime, I still got the draw in my pocket, and I'm okay. The other one I would look at too, and I might talk about this later, is taking the Panthers money line. And if the Panthers are going to win, for one thing, Bennett will probably get a point. Do it that way. Take Bennett over a point, and they'll definitely get over three or more shots.
What is Bennett's odds at?
Panthers money line and Bennett over 2.5 shots at Bet365 at plus 170. So that's a nice little price you might want to throw out.
That is. Yep. No doubt.
I got a little parlay here too.
Yes.
Panthers team total over 2.5. Bennett over 2.5 shots. Marner over 1.5 shots. That'll give you plus 248. I already played that earlier.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Good thoughts there on this game. Yeah. I just thought, I don't love this money line price on Florida. In fact, minus 150, I don't like that at all, quite honestly. But I did bet the series price because this is the time to bet it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you think Florida's still in this series, I am. But the team total is great value because I don't see Florida winning and not scoring 4 goals. That's kind of the way I see it. So I did like that team total here. Florida to score in the first as well.
There's a few kind of red flags because you know how heavy I was on Florida. Yep. So I've been taking a ribbon already for it, believe me. Reinhardt's playing very perimeter right now, and I'm a little worried about that. Kachuk still doesn't look right. So I'm not quite as heavy as I was before on Florida here until I see that change.
I will be looking to bet Toronto, or potentially looking to back Toronto in Florida, though. The Leaf fans are going to travel. They play very well on the road. Look what they did in Ottawa. They closed out the Ottawa Senators on the road, and they won 2 road games in that series, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And Florida is usually not good on that first game on a road trip either.
Yeah, so they're very good on the road, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And don't forget the Tampa Bay Lightning, the one game they won. I hope Florida wins tonight because I'll be on Toronto in Game 3 because Tampa beat Florida in Game 3 in the first round. So, like I said, I think that's kind of the way I've got. You got to have kind of an idea in your mind how you think the series could transpire. And I had, I had Florida probably winning tonight, and then my thought was Toronto might get them in Game 3, Friday night down in Florida. Alex, what do you think here tonight? A big Game 2, Panthers Leafs.
Yeah. My brain keeps going back to Nyes, and that guy is so impressive to me. The way he racing into the corner, I think that's one guy where I'd be legit. I'd have to be like,
he's phenomenal.
Careful,
he's absolutely spectacular. This
careful,
guy.
Holy smoke! And now, he's no secret anymore. Do you know he's coming? They'll turn the puck over. He just avoid him, or he's no joke. That guy. His neck's he looks strong with his equipment on, and that's not his neck is crazy, and that Toronto has not had a guy like
big
that.
Neck, big everything, well, he doesn't have a big gut, so that other than that, though,
yeah.
Big everywhere else, yeah. I got a big gut, but that's another story.
Yeah, for another time. But like you said, Florida is just winners. When a team's won, they usually bounce back good. Like you said, I like the overtime bet or the draw bet. That'd be nice. I just I hate betting against Canadian teams. I really do. Like I want them to win, but I guess it could be a win-win. You bet for Florida and Toronto wins. At least you win, with your heart, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not counting out Toronto in this one. I would still say Toronto, not by much, but overtime or something though, by 1 goal. Yeah.
You're getting a better price on them now for sure.
It depends on the goaltending too. Like sometimes, it's interesting to see. Do they rally around Stolarz getting hurt? Like do they stand up, boys? Let's do this for whatever his nickname is, Stoli or whatever.
Stoli the goalie, yeah.
Yeah. So like that, man. Remember in Boston?
I like their approach mentally tonight.
Yeah,
from all that I've read.
solid.
Toronto, though, that's the one thing, and that's the one thing that would concern me if I'm Florida. They look like they're taking the right approach, not tooth for tooth, eye for an eye. Can't afford to do anything stupid, at this time of year. Go win a hockey game tonight. Win game 2.
Yeah.
That's the best revenge you can get.
And then have it in the back of your mind, if ever you're going one-on-one against Bennett, you have it in the back, like nothing dirty, but play him like Nyes is going to run him. Like guys that could hit hard will hit him hard every time, That's what's hard when you play like a game like Bennett and Marchand, or even when I used to play as a rat, you would always get people coming after you every game. It gets tiresome after like 10 years of doing it, man. I was like, all right,
Yeah, he played a little bit of a Sam Bennett role, Alex Bolduc, in his career.
I wish, but that guy's special too, Bennett. Like how but you have to start. Like remember, he just retired. He played for the Islanders.
Cal Clutterbuck, right?
Clutterbuck. Like he made a nice career of hitting guys hard. Like. You don't see that much, but doesn't he lead the NHL in all-time hits, I think, or something close to it?
He was definitely someone that was always up there in hits.
And when you hit like that, every time someone gets a chance to extract revenge on you, they're hitting you too. There's no easy games for guys like that. Marchand, Bennett. So respect to those guys, big time.
The thing about Aaron, that's why I'm off the over. The two Joe Woll starts last year in the playoffs were 2-1. Game 5 and Game 6 versus Boston. And you're right, the Leafs did play a real tighter style of game for Woll. And that was Keefe. Those were the Keefe Leafs. Those were not the Craig Berube Leafs. So,
and that's why I kind of like Florida here, is if they do that, I think advantage goes to Florida to that type of game. That's what I like.
No question.
As far as could be better too. Yeah, Bob could be better. That's scary. Like that guy's nasty when he's on,
Well, the thing is, that's about it's not all Bob's fault, but that was by far a weak game by his standards. He knows it. The team knows it. He is definitely, I would be shocked if he's not a lot better here tonight in this one. Verhaeghe, a 3-game point streak. I like that. Marchand, a 3-game point streak. Anton Lundell, a 3-game point streak. And all very, very reasonable prices for them to get a point. Mm-hmm. I like it. With all of them there. Max Pacioretty, I'm going to keep taking his point prop. Plus 186, 2 games
playing well
with a point. Yeah, he got the game series winning goal against Ottawa. He got a point in the Game 1 win against Florida. So, again, there's good value there. Bennett keeps going over his shot prop. 5 straight over 2.5 shots on goal for Sam Bennett. His point prop is probably another good bet as well. That keeps cashing. Anything Bennett. Nyes, 4 straight over 1.5 shots. And Nyes to score a goal. I just bet it every game now.
The guy is dominant, and he's getting very close. And he's getting. I don't want to pump his tires too much. I know he's young, but he's impressive. Like for me to watch a game and him stand out so much, and but it doesn't shy away from contact, engages it, and wins the battle like 90% of the time. He's making a name for himself fast here. Like it's impressive.
Look at how he beat out an icing call when they were trying to close out that Game 6 against Ottawa. I couldn't believe it. And he was way trailing the Ottawa player that he was trying to beat out. And he made up the ground and beat out the icing in that final minute.
Do you remember that goal? I think it was at end of the season where there's only like, I don't want to get the time wrong, but I think it was against Pittsburgh. And it was a D-zone draw for him. And I think it was under 3 seconds or something, or under 4 seconds. And I think Boston won the draw, but he intercepted it. So from the D zone, crosses the blue line, probably 2 or 3 feet inside the blue line, and fires one under the time. Like to know the time management and to score with the speed and the shot.
I remember that.
And that's like no one thought that you could do it in that amount of time.
To
and he
beat the
did.
clock. I remember.
To
beat the clock.
You know who he reminds me of is the guy up in the booth, up in the top there, Brendan Shanahan. He reminds me a lot of Brendan Shanahan.
Yeah.
Ekblad should have a good game today after screwing up the way he did too.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even mention that. Aaron Ekblad makes his return from suspension here for the Florida Panthers tonight, which obviously will be a big boost as well.
He only got one game. Did he get one, or what did he get? 2 or 3? What did he get?
He got 2. He got the end of the last one and the first one.
It was a 2-game suspension, for Ekblad. But he's back tonight, obviously, for Game 2 against the Leafs. And obviously that's big, for their blue line. No question about that. And he will go back to playing with Forsling. And that is, it's a great pair. There's no question, him and Gustav Forsling. All right, we've only got 5 minutes left with Alex before he has to run. So we'll go right to him with this one. Dallas Stars, Winnipeg Jets. Game 1 tonight, Dallas minus 115, road favorites, 5.5 the total. I'll throw it to you, Alex, and just say this. Winnipeg, to me, they're in one of the mother of all bet against spots tonight. They're coming off a Game 7 against St. Louis. Neil Pionk plays 46 minutes. Dylan Sandberg plays 42 minutes. Dylan DeMello plays 36 minutes on the blue line. They're not going to have Josh Morrissey tonight. They might have Mark Scheifele, though. It sounds like he might play and make his return for Game 1 tonight. So they're in the mother of all bet against spots. I do not want anything to do with Winnipeg here tonight. But Dallas never wins Game 1s. They are 0-8 in their last 8 Game 1s. It is almost like a pick your poison type of game.
Yeah.
There is something I like, though, as far as a team total. I'll get into that in a minute, and as well as the totals aspect of this game. But Alex, what do you think here, just of this game and the series? Dallas Stars, Winnipeg Jets.
Just that last series, and then it's interesting when you watch playoffs, because I don't watch the NHL minus the Habs and stuff during the season. But Pionk, like 40 minutes or something, guys that it's cool to see. Guys that run defense, but you never hear them on the highlight show, or unless you really watch a game and appreciate what they bring game in and game out. If you're on the team, you always love the guys that because you're on the bench and you're watching Pionk go out every second shift, and I mean, he's like a third or fourth line guy back then. I'd be like, oh man, bro, I go out there for one shift, I'm done, and then you go out, it's just you really respect it. So I feel like that with those guys playing all those minutes, in Game 7, getting all that confidence, Lowry's an unbelievable guy. I don't know him personally, but just the way he leads the team, he fights if he has to, he scores. Super respectable guy, and he seems so nice. I don't know if you guys saw that interaction with Bonus. He's like, "Oh, Bones, miss you, man," and Bones is like, "Oh, I miss you too." It's like two buddies, but not.
Oh, it was a great television moment. Adam
really
Lowry
cool.
and Bonus on TNT after that.
Yeah, both mutually happy for each other. And I told you before we came on, our Neil, I love Winnipeg. Winnipeg, for me, the city is the city that gave me a chance in the American League, gave me a chance when no one else would. Winnipeg has the best fans, I think, NHL fans, and I'm from Montreal, and I say that no offense to Montreal fans, but Winnipeg is diehard.
Good.
They will go out to get and I love Winnipeg. I got to go Winnipeg in this series for sure. Close, though. Dallas is awesome, too. But, yeah, Winnipeg all day.
That's a heartstrings pick, but that's okay.
Yeah, heartstrings. Sure.
I know that you have a soft spot in your heart for Winnipeg.
Manitoba, yeah. Go Moose.
We know you got to run, but just before we do, I mentioned Bargain Bin Special of the night is a segment where we pick our best plus 300 or better odds player prop of the night. So what player, maybe flying under the radar, do you have in mind for this?
For Toronto, Bobby McMahon.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. And he has struggled to get his offense going.
20 goals this year, though. I didn't really know that. I kind of went through their roster, saw the way he played.
He's getting better, though. I think he's had a few more chances just hasn't gone in for him.
Yeah, 20 goals is 20 goals in the NHL.
Plus 600 for him to score.
That guy is easy to score. And for Florida, Rodriguez, I feel like he's been a little quiet, but I like that guy too. I feel like the last playoffs I watched, he always scores and kind of under the radar a bit.
All right, so we'll give you Bobby McMahon, Toronto, me and Bobby McMahon, of course. So that's the reference, plus 600. And Evan Rodriguez for Florida, plus 500. There you go. 2 bargain bin specials for Alex Bolduc on his Ice Guys show debut. And last but not least, Alex, before you leave, best bet for tonight. If you had to pick one best bet for from the 2 games tonight, either game, what would it be?
The Knives overshot total.
There you go.
Yeah,
Knives over 2.5, and that's a good one to pick because he's been trending over that.
Is he? Yeah, okay, yeah. That's fair. Not to hop on the bandwagon, but yeah, that's a good one.
He's been getting over that number. I'm just confirming. Let me just confirm that again. Yeah, Matthew Knies has gone over 1.5 shots, 4 straight games entering tonight. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but still minus 170.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You bump it up a little bit. He probably gets 3 tonight.
He could probably get 3 though. He could go over 2.5 with it.
What's Nylander's shots at? That guy always shoots a lot.
Yeah, Nylander is 3.5 at plus money, or you could go 2.5 minus 140. There are some 2.5 140s out there. Yeah,
that's not bad.
All right, we'll give you Nylander then. Change of plans. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that too. Yeah.
For Alex Bolduc. There.
I got to get off of Knies' jockstrap here a bit, I think.
Hey, well, we've been we've been singing his praises all year, so join the fucking club. His goal prop all year, essentially, and point props and all.
I just love that old school style he plays, though, man. Like instead of like shifting away from hits, he like engages, and it's oh man, and he's winning a lot of those battles. Yeah, it's all.
He's going to be a great power forward in this league. Yeah, you can just see it. He goes to the net, he goes to the hard areas. He's got great skill, great shot. That backhand was lethal past Bobrovsky the other night.
And like really fakes it, eh? Like he really like comes in, man. In slow motion, he made like 2 or 3 moves before he even got there. It was really nice. Yeah,
no doubt it was. This was a blast. We're glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. That was fun.
We know you got to run. You got to pick up the kid.
Yeah, excited to go see him. Yeah.
No doubt, my friend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get you back on the show soon. Take care.
Okay, perfect. Good luck with the bets, fellas.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. There he is, Alex Bolduc on the Ice Guys show. Appreciate him joining us. All right, back to Dallas and Winnipeg. And we're going to have Alex for a Player Suite episode during the off season. So stay tuned for that. We'll get into all the stories of his career. And he told me he's got a few. So that'll be exciting as well. So another reason to sign up at Patreon, because it'll be Patreon exclusive. So make sure, again, you get on board at patreon.com/Ice Guys with that. All right, Dallas and Winnipeg. I mentioned it with Alex that you got Winnipeg in this very tough spot, but Dallas just doesn't win game ones. So what do you do in this game? Well, I like the over by Fecta. It's my favorite look in this game for sure. I think it goes over in the first period, over in the full game. I think it's going to be not maybe completely like the Winnipeg-St. Louis game 1, but that game went off the rails. It was 2-2 after the first period. It ended 5-3. There were goals galore. I think you're going to kind of see that. And even though Winnipeg's off the longer game, double overtime on Sunday, let's not forget Dallas is coming off a pretty miraculous comeback Game 7 win as well the night before against Colorado with Mikko Rantanen's legacy third period. Legacy game. It's not legacy game. It's legacy third period because that's when he did all that damage. Unbelievable stuff. 3 goals, 1 assist from him in that third period to come back and beat Colorado. So both of these teams are off these epic Game 7 comebacks. So neither one's in a great spot. Dallas can't win a Game 1 to save their lives, but there's just no way I'm backing Winnipeg, coming off all the minutes, especially their defensemen had to play. And I think the fatigue leads to goals tonight and mistakes. So I like that first period over, full game over here. But I'm also, the one thing I am going to take on the Dallas side is the over 2.5 at minus 150. I know it's a little pricey, but Winnipeg rather, in the first round, they gave up 3 goals or more in 6 of the 7 games to the St. Louis Blues. And with the minutes piling up on the blue line the way they were in Game 7, like I said, I think there could be some mental and physical fatigue, miscues and mistakes and turnovers tonight from this Jets team. Still without Josh Morrissey, by the way. So I will tack on a Dallas team total. I'm staying away from the money line, but I will take the team total over 2.5 here for the Dallas Stars tonight, in addition to the over by Fecta. Perlo, your thoughts here? Game 1, Stars Jets.
Yeah, to go back also, because somebody put in the comments when we mentioned it before, it's going to be a letdown spot for the Winnipeg Jets. There's the overtime, but there's also the fact that the way I like to see it is look at it is who they were playing. The Jets went into the St. Louis Blues as the leader in the West against what was supposed to be one of the weakest, pretty much one of the weaker teams, and they barely got by them. And yeah, it was exciting. It was awesome. You got her done and all that kind of stuff like that. But it doesn't really feel as good, Now you go with Dallas on the other hand. Everybody was on Colorado. We have our defense is injured. There's no Heiskanen, there's no Robertson. Everybody knows that. And they played as a team to a point where it built confidence all the way through. And I think that just builds more confidence going into this series, winning a series like that, than Winnipeg just barely beating the St. Louis Blues. So I like Dallas here as well. I like Dallas in the first period. And I am going to put some on Dallas money line as well. I think they break the trend here. Can't go huge on it because, like you said, they have been finding ways to lose. And not only that, you can say what you want. The Jets have been good at home, very good at home all year long too. So it's a difficult spot to just say, Dallas is going to win it for those reasons. But I'm still going to put a little bit on it. I'm also going to take Stars goal first period at minus 170. And just like I kind of did with the Toronto game, another thing the Dallas Stars have did pretty much every game except for the one they got shut out in is score in the third period. So I'm going to parlay them both and put Stars first period, Stars third period, because I think the Stars will likely win this game. There's a really good chance they'll be scoring in the third period because I don't think they're going to blow Winnipeg out. And they've been scoring in the third period. They actually don't take second period because the Stars had a few where they didn't score in the second period, came back in the third. You can get that at plus 120. I'm going to put a little bit on that. I am taking the Stars team total over 2.5, like you are, at minus 150. I'm going to take that individually. And to kill the juice a little bit, I'm going to take it with Perfetti over 1.5 shots. That brings me up to plus 135. I'm going to put a little bit on that as well, and a little tiny bit on the team total over 3.5 as well, just in case Hellebuyck still isn't the Hellebuyck that we're certain of, or that when this is really a down spot like we think for Winnipeg, and the Stars actually take it out pretty good. So I'm going to take them out pretty good and score 3. In the regular season, usually when the Stars won, they scored over 3.5. Remember that. So I'm taking a little bit on that as well. And I got Harley over shots, a big one here, a big one. I still think Rantanen, I don't think Rantanen's going to stop here. I think Rantanen's going to keep on going. In fact, I think that built up his confidence enough to with Dallas. He hasn't really shown us the best, and he finally did, and I don't think it stops. So I'm going to take Rantanen over 2.5 shots, and you can get that at plus 115. I think that's an excellent value. And Hintz over 2.5 shots. He didn't have any shots the last game, but he's usually flying right over this total. So because he didn't get any shots last game, you can get it at plus 150. I'm going to throw a bit on that as well.
All right, good stuff. This is a great game. I'm looking forward to it. It's intriguing. There's so many plot lines. Who's in the lineup for both teams? We know Jason Robertson. He's being called a game-time decision, but we think he's in. Mark Scheifele on the other side from Scott Arniel is being called a game-time decision, but we think he's in for this game. I don't think we're seeing Morrissey. I'm pretty confident Morrissey's out, and I'm pretty sure Miro Heiskanen is not back yet either for Dallas. They're going to hold him back for at least another game. So if you ask me right now, the most likely is we have Morrissey out, Scheifele in for Winnipeg, Heiskanen out, Robertson in for Dallas here tonight in this game. That's basically how I see the lineups. But either way, the storylines of both teams coming off these epic comeback wins in Game 7. Winnipeg emptying the gas tank as far as minutes played, especially with some of those D, including Neil Pionk, something to watch. That being said, Neil Pionk, like I said, he's gained the trust of Scott Arniel for sure. We'll have to see because he's certainly going to get a lot of minutes We saw it even with the 46 minutes without Morrissey. You're going to see him on the ice a lot. So, the shot, and he's been shooting the puck more too. Let's keep that in mind. So, shots on goal for Pionk, and is worth a shot. Even the point prop, which is plus 117 or plus 120 for him to get a point. I'm back on the Perfetti Express for Winnipeg. He's starting to finally heat up now. He had some tough luck, was a little bit snake bit early in the playoffs, but he's now got a point in back-to-back games and a goal in back-to-back games for the Jets. So that Mikko Rantanen obviously on fire to finish the series against Colorado. 3-game point streak, 3-game goal streak. What was it? 11 points in the last 3 games combined. So obviously his props are of interest. Nemesnikov and Lowry continue to be players I'd maybe look at on the Winnipeg side. Although, with Scheifele coming back, he'll probably slot back in with Connor and Velarde, which means Nemesnikov slides down to that second line, centering that line with Ehlers and Perfetti. It's probably what we're going to end up seeing here tonight. But still, Nemesnikov, still value, in my opinion, with that here tonight. Just a couple players on Dallas that have had good head-to-head success against Winnipeg production-wise. Tyler Seguin and Mason Marchment. So keep an eye on those 2 players. They've had good head-to-head success in the past against the Winnipeg Jets. So maybe it's a Seguin or a Marchment night. Wyatt Johnston probably end up on his props again. How can you not? Wyatt Johnston got going later in that series, scored the series-winning goal on the power play in Game 7 against Colorado. Even just to get a point, Wyatt Johnston's minus 120, and he's on a 3-game point streak as well. So it's a good prop game. I do think there's goals in this game, so it's a good game to dabble with some of the player props there. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Alex Bolduc, thanks to him for joining us. He was a great guest, and he'll be back probably later in the playoffs. And again, we're going to do the Players Suite interview with him over the offseason about his playing days. So looking forward to that. And what we're also looking forward to? Tomorrow night, another Patreon exclusive Stanley Cup Playoffs live betcast, Thursday, May the 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be Game 2 for Carolina, Washington, and Edmonton, Vegas on the betcast tomorrow night. So make sure you're there with us, 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. And again, make sure you sign up at patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. That's your one and only way to be with us on the betcast tomorrow. Goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each day throughout the season and the playoffs. And of course, access to all the bonus content, all the Players Suite interview shows we'll be doing during the off season, and all the remaining Patreon exclusive Stanley Cup Playoffs live betcasts coming up for the rest of the playoffs. So make sure you sign up. Just $10 per month. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going. So make sure you sign up, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys, and be there for the live betcast tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And also make sure you check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You still have opportunity. I believe it's 40% sale going on at the website right now. So make sure you check that out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Alex, have you checked out the latest with the great trading platform Kalshi?
Yes, I have. It's been fantastic. This is one of the first and only federally regulated prediction markets in the U.S. And if you're looking for odds for all kinds of different things, not just what we're talking about, the markets in the Stanley Cup, the NBA Finals, you can trade with crypto. You can look for trades within the markets involving entertainment, politics. There's all kinds of different markets you can look for, and you can use the odds over at Kalshi.
Time of year to get involved with Kalshi. Certainly if you're a sports fan, Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, baseball now underway, with all the different markets to create winning trades. Make sure you're checking out all that Kalshi has to offer.
Absolutely. And if you're trading with Kalshi, use the link kalshi.com/iceguys. You trade $100 or more, they will send you $10 back. So it's fantastic to use. Like I said, any kind of markets beyond sports. We're talking entertainment, politics, crypto, basically anything you want.
So make sure you sign up, kalshi.com/iceguys. Note that it's live on Robinhood and available in all 50 states, making it the first legal place to trade on these kind of events nationwide. Check it out, kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. And, of course, kalshi.com/IceGuys. Give it a try. It's really good. More than just sports, too. Politics, crypto, entertainment. You can trade on anything there. kalshi.com/IceGuys. All right, bargain bin special of the night. We got Panthers-Leafs Game 2, Stars-Jets Game 1 on the docket. Perlo, bargain bin special. What do you got?
All right, I've been having fun with this parlay stuff. And if you want to see all my parlays, go over to Perlo's NHL POW. We've been hitting really well on them. Haven't brought them on the show until I saw how it was working, but we've been doing excellent. So I'm going to put a little parlay together at the Leafs-Panthers game over 2.5 goals for the game. Bennett over 2.5 shots. Marner over 1.5 shots, and Verhaeghe over 1.5 shots, and you get that at plus 375. I'm going to be doing this for the Dallas game as well. You can catch me on my show if you go catch me up on my Twitter. We do spaces there all the time, and we're going to be putting together a Dallas parlay that'll give you nice plus money there too. So hope to see you there.
Stuff indeed. And shout out to Matt Robinson, who with his bargain bin special that he gave out on Tuesday's show yesterday hitting. He went very unique and creative with bargain bin special. He went with Oilers to win, Oilers money line, over 1.5 in the first period of that game, and over 5.5 in the full game for Edmonton,
nice.
Vegas. And a 4-2 final, a perfect result. And it was over plus 300 for that parlay. So well done by Matt. Cashing the bargain bin special yesterday on the show. Great creative bet. Love to see it. Bargain bin special for me. I'll give you one from each game here tonight with the 2 games on tap. Panthers and Leafs. I liked Alex Bolduc going with Bobby. I'm not going with Bobby McMahon, but he has gotten closer to scoring the last few games. So, it wouldn't totally shock me, to see, him find the back of the net. But no, for me, for a bargain bin special for this particular night, I am going to roll with, I'm going to give Max Domi a shot, believe it or not, at plus 680 here tonight.
Wow.
For Max Domi, a little bit down the board. I think tonight he's going to be one of those guys, too, after what happened to Stolars. And oftentimes, you get Max Domi riled up. You get a better game out of him. he actually could be one of the guys. Like the Leafs might challenge Bennett early, and I think if they do that, that's great. Challenge him to a fight. Domi would be a candidate for that. No question. Domi would be a candidate for that. McCabe, Carlo, Benoit, would probably be one of those guys that fights Bennett if it happens. But Domi, I think, has a big game tonight. Whether they win or lose, we'll see, the Leafs. But I'll take a shot with Max Domi here, plus 680. And in the Dallas-Winnipeg game, I will go to, because he's bargain bin, just barely bargain bin price worthy, plus 310. He's starting to get rolling. Cole Perfetti, Winnipeg Jets, plus 310. Now, coming off the 2-goal game does worry me. Maybe cools off a little tonight, but the value's great. And he's really been one of the biggest threats offensively for the Winnipeg Jets the last few games. So Cole Perfetti plus 310 for my other bargain bin special. All right, best bets. Perlo, what do you like here for best bet?
I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna go with that Dallas team total over, juicy minus 150. I think they'd easily get 3 goals in that game. So I'm gonna take Dallas team total over 2.5.
I like that one. Dallas team total over 2.5. I'm going to go to that same game and just give me over 5.5. I think it's a high-scoring game. I think it's just one of those games where you're going to see mistakes. These two teams are coming off thrilling Game 7s. Winnipeg, the fatigue as well added in. That's when mistakes happen. The offense is ahead of the defense tonight in this game, in my opinion. Don't forget the way the Blues-Jets ended up being in that Game 1 in the first round. It ended up being a big-time high-scoring affair. To get a 5.5, great value here. Over 5.5, minus 120 for Dallas and Winnipeg for my best bet here for this Wednesday night. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Perlo, and thanks to Alex Bolduc for joining us as well. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back tomorrow on Thursday, a big Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern with The Daily Show and the BetCast Patreon exclusive tomorrow night. Join us Thursday right here on The Ice Guys.